Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Riley King, and welcome to this afternoon edition of the RK Newscast. Let's begin. First up, let's take a look at your coronavirus around the world. Potential COVID-19 treatment shows glimmery of hope, researchers say. A clinical trial of the Aventural medication remdesivir begun on February 21st. Today's biggest developments. California governor plans to order closure of all beaches and state parks. Europe remains in a grip of coronavirus pandemic. WHO says. South Korea reports no new local cases for the first time since February. Pressure to reopen. 11 states have already begun easing restrictions on businesses, with 7 more to follow by the end of the week. But Arizona, Nevada are now extending their stay-at-home orders. Let's take a listen to that video from ABC News.
This morning, Florida is the latest state announcing plans to gradually reopen.
I deliberately erred on the side of taking measured steps, kind of even a baby step, to return to not normal where we were, but to start us on the road to a brighter day.
Beginning Monday, restaurants and retail stores will be allowed to reopen, but only at 25% capacity, and they'll have to maintain social distancing. But the reopening plans exclude 3 hard-hit counties in South Florida, including Miami-Dade. Nationwide, 11 states have already lifted restrictions, with 7 more to follow by the end of this week. Amid these difficult decisions, the economic tension is getting thick.
I can guarantee to continue a 5-figure loss every month.
This morning, the Labor Department is expected to report that another 3.5 million Americans filed for unemployment benefits last week, bringing the total to more than 30 million people since the pandemic began. In the states that remain closed, many business owners say they're fed up.
I'm not really a big fan of people telling me what to do.
This hairstylist in North Carolina is reopening despite the governor's stay-at-home order.
I've got my Clorox spray, my wipes, my disinfectants. I got barbicide wipes. I have all of the things that I am supposed to do to keep people healthy.
And in San Francisco, similar concerns.
I'm more worried about the guaranteed loss I'm going to take if I continue to stay closed.
In Texas, this salon owner opening despite a court-issued restraining order. But owners know that opening up shop won't alleviate legitimate fear among their employees.
When I've talked to my employees, obviously they're afraid, I'm afraid, and I think that we should be. We'll see how it goes.
Many states that have reopened are now telling workers they'll lose unemployment benefits if they refuse to return to their jobs. Meanwhile, in states like Illinois, still in the grips of this crisis, medical workers on the front lines see it with their own eyes. People are growing restless.
We've got all these people that want to get out. They want to get back to the norm of what society was before COVID-19. People aren't realizing because they don't see what we see on a day-to-day basis. We've worked so hard to keep that line down, to lower it. And is it going to be worse because we're opening things up?
Now, people are certainly looking forward to summer, but this economy will make things feel different. Here in New York, the mayor is already saying that even if things turn around in the warmer months, the city doesn't have the plans or the money to open staples like beaches or pools.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Bid to block the sale of Newcastle United to Saudi Arabia. Let's take a listen to that video from Sky News.
This is the image Saudi Arabia wants the world to see. Women driving for the first time, even boxing. A kingdom trying to rehabilitate its international reputation, with sport the vehicle of choice. And now they're on the brink of claiming the ultimate status symbol, ownership of a Premier League football club. But it's this image that they can't escape. Saudi dissident and journalist Jamal Khashoggi entering their consulate in Istanbul for the final time. Once inside, he was brutally murdered. Now his fiancée, through her lawyers, is urging the Premier League to block the sale of Newcastle United to Saudi Arabia. I know Hatice has said that she thinks that this takeover, if it does go ahead, would make the Premier League complicit in Jamal's murder. Why did she feel so moved to intervene?
She is asserting very strongly that by allowing the Crown Prince and those around him into football and English sport in this way, it is blatantly turning a blind eye to all the very serious allegations and accusations that have been levelled against him.
I'm stood outside the Premier League headquarters. Nobody's here at the moment, nor have the Khashoggi family received any response to their pleas. But everything is pointing towards this deal being completed in the coming days. But in Newcastle, talk of sports washing is eclipsed by desperation to get rid of the current owner, Mike Ashley. They blame the Sports Direct billionaire for years of mismanagement and are prepared to dance with a different devil.
I know the Saudis have a bad reputation, but I don't think that should have any bearing again on the takeover of Newcastle, because we're desperate to get rid of the person who's in charge.
Everybody's got their own opinion on human rights, and I feel sorry for the lass and that, but mate, Ashley, I need him out.
I hope it happens. It'd be great for the city as well as the club, because what they'll do is they'll invest in the community, and that's what we need.
On Tyneside, they've watched the Abu Dhabi billions transforming Manchester City into league champions, and many believe Saudi Arabia have a similar project in mind.
I think the club will be able to invest significantly more funds in players in terms of both transfer fees and recruitment. I think that's the criticism which has been levelled at Mike Ashley during his period of ownership of the club.
With football on pause and attention focused elsewhere, one of the most criticised states on earth could be about to take over a Premier League club. English football might be selling a precious slice of its integrity. Martha Kellner, Sky News.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Stocks extended month-end drop. Dow now 400 points. Stocks fell sharply on Thursday, the last day of April, as another round of dismal economic data led to investors to trim some profits as the markets wrapped up its best month in decades. Washington Post, U.S. weighs retaliation against China over coronavirus. Let's take a listen to that video from CNBC.
We're going to watch for some comments out of the president. He's been talking to a pool spray, I believe, along with the New York governor about contact tracing in New York State. But now the Washington Post, guys, has a piece up in which they say that U.S. officials are starting to craft elements of punishment against China. For more on this, we'll go to Eamon Javers today. Eamon?
Yeah, this is a Washington Post report, Carl, in which they're saying that U.S. officials are beginning to explore proposals for punishing or demanding financial compensation from China for its handling of the coronavirus pandemic. According to 4 senior administration officials talking to the Washington Post, they're saying that there is a meeting expected Thursday, that is today, to begin mapping out a strategy for seeking retaliatory measures against China. So we'll keep an eye on that, Carl, and we'll get you more as soon as we have it.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. We are also learning that Andrew Cuomo announces NYC subways will be closed overnight to be disinfected. Let's take a listen to that video from MSNBC News.
I challenged the MTA to come up with a plan. They came up with a plan. They can disinfect all trains and buses every night. It can best be done by stopping train service from 1 a.m. to 5 a.m. every night during the pandemic so they can actually perform this service. Now, remember the context that we're in this pandemic. Ridership is down 92%. 1 to 5 are these slow hours, 1 a.m. to 5 a.m. It's the lowest ridership. Estimate is about 10,000 people ride the system overall during that period of time. So the MTA will launch what they call the Essential Connector Program. They'll have buses, dollar vans, and if necessary, will provide for-hire vehicles to transport a person. The Uber, the Lyft, the Via vehicles at no cost to the essential worker during those hours to provide transport. So people who need transportation during 1 a.m. and 5 a.m. can have it, will have it, even to the extent of a for-hire vehicle paid for by the MTA. Remember, 1 a.m. to 5 a.m., we don't have bars open, we don't have restaurants open, so you don't have a lot of traffic that you would normally have. You do have essential workers who are using our trains and subways, and they will have transportation during that period of time. This is going to be one of the most aggressive, creative, challenging undertakings that the MTA has done. It's going to require the MTA, the state, the city, the NYPD to all work together. It's not that easy to stop train service. You have to close down stations. You have to make sure people don't walk in. Then you have to figure out how to clean all these trains and all these stations. I've consulted with the elected officials on the MTA's recommendation, and we all agree to accept the plan on the Essential Connector Program. The MTA is undertaking something that people would have said was virtually impossible. Trains and buses will be disinfected daily. Service will continue. The MTA will also disinfect the fleet on the the Metro North and the Long Island Railroad, which is what goes out to Long Island, goes to the northern suburbs. They can do that without any disruption in service because of the volume of ridership, etc. So just think about it. The entire public transit system in downstate New York will be disinfected every 24 hours.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC.
Okay, and there you go on that video. And thank you for watching this afternoon edition of the RK Newscast right here on the Riley King Network. Have a great rest of your afternoon. I'll see you back here again for another newscast. Goodbye, everyone.